Well, those are some of the big free agents that will be free agents next season. And as you take a look at some of those guys, boy, they're going to command top dollars. Mariano Rivera, you would expect, if he decides to play again, would be with the Yankees. But Josh Hamilton will be a free agent. Cole Hamels, Matt Cain. And let's talk about that, Tyler, because you wrote a column about it this week. The fact that for all those Yankees fans saying, why aren't you out getting a pitcher or two or throwing all sorts of money around, maybe they're waiting for 13.
Yeah, you know, when you're the Yankees, you can, first of all, they want to get under the $189 million threshold within a couple of years. The new CBA gives them some incentives to do that. But also, you know, the free agent class that you see right in front of you isn't necessarily the best ones out there. I mean, just because C.J. Wilson and Edwin Jackson and Mark Burley happen to be free agents this year doesn't mean you can't wait. Now, the Phillies would love to bring back Cole Hamels. The Giants would love to bring back Matt Cain. Who wouldn't? But the fact is, these teams haven't re-signed them yet. They're less than a year away from free agency now. And if you're Cole Hamels, you're looking around and you see the Phillies have taken care of Ryan Howard with a $25 million a year contract. They've got two pitchers already making over 20 with Halladay and Lee. The Phillies have a huge payroll, but you got to wonder, can they afford a fourth $20 million a year plus guy? Because if I'm Cole Hamels, I know the Yankees can give that to me.
All right, so do you make a run at Hamels? Do you make a run at Cain? Who's the guy for you?
Oh, I would make a run at both of them, although if I had to favor one, I think they're very similar pitchers. I think I would go for the lefty. I would want to have Hamels, and I think that his postseason pedigree is a little stronger than Cain. But one thing that Tyler pointed out in his article, too, a historical thing, you go back to 2007, and the Yankees didn't get Johan Santana, and they saw CC Sabathia in the future, and that worked out for them. They were able to get Sabathia. They win the World Series in 2009, so I think you can make that comparison again right here. C.J. Wilson, to me, is a number 3 starter, but Hamels and Cain, those are guys you put right at the top of your rotation.
Yeah, I don't blame the Yankees for passing on the big pitchers this year because those big pitchers aren't legitimate aces like these two guys are. I know Cain is number 2 for the Giants, but that's only because they have Lincecum there. And Hamels is not number 1 for the Phillies, but that's only because they have two great pitchers there in Halladay and Lee. These are legitimate aces, both worth $20 million. And Tyler's article, he pointed out these guys have stats that are very, very similar. I may just say Hamels is a little bit better just because he's in Philly with the park. It's a little more difficult to pitch than San Francisco. But as Jack pointed out, Hamels was terrific in the postseason. I will defend Cain a little bit, though, because he was pretty good in that postseason as well. He had a great – so very, very similar pitchers, postseason, regular season, everything. And I love Cain because he's a bulldog, and a lot of the stat guys don't like him because he doesn't strike anybody out. But who cares? Great pitcher.
You know how it shows how good these guys are? The current free agent crop isn't even totally signed. Yu Darvish is still out there, and we're talking about these guys. That just shows you that there are GMs out there, and Brian Cashman might be one of them, maybe Theo Epstein is one of them, maybe Ben Cherington is another one. They're salivating over the possibility of having a Cain or a Hamels under 30 pitchers with the kind of resume that these two guys bring. I mean, we are definitely talking in the $20 million salary.
Well, what I can't understand, especially with Cain, it seems to me that's the cornerstone of what the Giants are. Right. Lincecum and Cain, and how can they not extend him? How can they not go to him early unless his agents say do nothing?
No, I agree. I mean, but you'd think that would be done by now. You know, I mean, you're getting to the point where it's a year or so away, a little less than a year now from free agency, and they still have to think of Tim Lincecum too, because he's up the year after Cain. So, you know, the Giants have a lot of work to do, and the Phillies, as we've seen, the Phillies are all in. But it would be, from the Phillies' perspective, a shame that they have all these older guys in their 30s, and the youngest guy of their core is the one that they haven't re-signed yet. It's kind of weird, but it's just that's how it's happened.
The Giants are trying to get these guys signed, both Lincecum and Cain. They have made offers to them, but they are very, very far apart on Lincecum, I know, and I'm assuming they're pretty far apart on Cain at this point. I think shame on them if they don't get them signed because they did nothing this offseason with the intention of getting these guys locked up. And as you said, the cornerstone of the team, they're the reason that they won the World Series. I know they got some hitters that got hot at the time, but these are the guys that really carried them, and they need to try to lock these guys up. Philly's got a luxury tax issue. San Francisco does not have that excuse. They have very rich ownership. They have terrific revenues. They have the money to get it done. If they don't get it done, it's their problem, their fault.
And really quickly, as far as the Yankees goes, we're talking about pitching. If Mariano Rivera decides he wants to pitch again, you would assume he'd work it out with the Yankees. If not, they still seem to be set with David Robertson.
Right. I think that Robertson is the heir apparent. Speaking to him not too long ago, he said, when Mariano was done, I definitely want a shot at that job. And I think that based on what he did last year, the Yankees can feel comfortable. But one quick thing, Bob, and Tyler touched on it. When we go forward with the Yankees and we're throwing around $20 million salaries and stuff like that, they are going to work beyond hard to get under that 189 because the incentives, the financial incentives that come back their way are huge. So they're going to have to be very selective about how they spend.
I love the fact that Robertson says, I want a shot at it. This guy was probably the best relief pitcher in baseball last year.
A humble guy.
He's unbelievable. Terrific young man. Not only a great pitcher, just a terrific guy. And he is the guy. He may just say, I want a shot, and I'd like the opportunity and all that stuff. But it's his job.
I think why he was doing that, too, though, John, is because he doesn't want to be the guy who pushes Mariano into retirement. Right. You know, he wants to be able to, he wants to have respect for the greatest closer ever and say, when he's done, if there's a little room for me in the bullpen, I'm ready.